Hi, my name is Jessie Chen. I'm the holder of this diary. Call it When Traveling. The first day in Krakow started with something annoying. Well, it seems miserable things usually happened on the first day when I arrived in the city. December 4th, 2021, in Krakow, Poland. After waking up, I went to toilet. While I was releasing my physical needs, suddenly someone rotated the doorknob, and I was like, no way, this makes me feel so stressful. And even if I can finish quickly, I still need time to brush my teeth. Thinking of finishing the two things in a hurry just made me feel really bad. But whatever, I'll release my physical needs first, I told myself. But in just 30 seconds, there's a sound again. The person rotated the doorknob again. Fine. I reluctantly started to brush my teeth in a 1.5 speed. And when I opened the door, a guy with an apparently upset face was looking at me. He is my Israel roommate, on whom back to that time I had a bad impression. At the moment, I was thinking, come on man, it's not just you that feel upset, me too. Why do you look like I owe you millions? But of course, I didn't say that. I was just looking at him indifferently for 3 seconds and left. I then went to Wieliczka Salt Mine. It takes as wide as 287 kilometers, as deep as 327 meters, and is recognized as a UNESCO World Heritage. It got started mining from 13th century and ended in late 20th. Attending a tour is compulsory. Well, for me, this is a bit tiring because it doesn't allow me to have my own pace. Before the tour started, I went to toilet, and when I went out, I just had eye contact for like 3 seconds by chance with 3 guys who were 5 meters in front of me. I didn't think much, I just went forward and was about to pass by them. But that was at the moment out of my expectation. One of them said hi to me. I mean, I didn't expect someone would talk to me randomly just on streets. I suppose conversation happens when at least there are some accidents or scenarios like travelers bump into the same issue or both of you are waiting for something and look really bored. But my case belongs to neither of them. Then how could this happen? I guess this is a culture thing. It's quite common in Spain or let's say in Southern Europe and in the US based on my experience. I remembered when I hung around on streets in Madrid, a guy passed by me just asked, ¿Cómo te llamas?, which means, what's your name? And when I was taking a walk at a pier in New York, a guy I met at corner just said, Hi, how are you? With a friendly tone. That's really interesting for me because before I met these Greek guys, I never encountered things like this when I traveled in Nordic countries. And it's also quite rare or even impossible to talk to people or to strike up a conversation with someone you are interested in just right on the streets in Taiwan. Well, unless you are a foreigner and you bump into elder people. They definitely will be like so curious and so friendly to you. Anyway, I replied in return and we talked for like 3 minutes and I left. A few moments later, the tour started. We then went downstairs to the salt mine. While I was walking, I suddenly felt that I made a good decision, which is to travel at this age rather than to wait until forever. Keeping going down to 100 meters deep, I'm not sure if I could make it when I'm getting old, or who knows, my knees would still be healthy in several years, I thought. In the mine, there are chambers, statues, sculptures, lakes, a restaurant, and a famous chapel called St. Kinga's Chapel. And there's a relief mimicking the famous painting from Leonardo da Vinci, which is The Last Supper. While I was looking around, suddenly, a guy came to me. I then turned to him, and guess what? It's the Greek guy I met in front of the restaurant. At the beginning, I assumed he was just to come to say hi. However, what he said to me is definitely the most unreal thing I have ever heard in my life. I swear. He said, I think you are beautiful and special when I saw you. You are as beautiful as the lake we just saw. At the moment, I was like, what? And replied, oh, thank you, but come on, it's just an artificial lake. Of course, I didn't mean to compare myself with the beauty of the lake. I was just trying to digress the conversation, making me less awkward. However, he continued. He said, oh, I know. I mean, you're very beautiful, and I feel pity that I didn't meet you earlier, because I'm gonna leave tomorrow. How about going for coffee afterwards as a nice ending of my journey? And I was thinking, oh, this kind of thing does happen in real life. It's not just something in movies. But whatever, I still felt super awkward, not only because of the words he said, but also because of the tone he used. He talked to me really softly, which I didn't get used to. Well, I imagine this kind of conversation would only happen when the guy sends the invitation in a more simple, clear, and confident way, which for me seems more comfortable. Well, or maybe I just formed the pattern falsely because I watched too many movies from Hollywood, which without a doubt present an American culture. I then replied, but I actually feel a little tired now, so I think I will go back to the hostel right afterwards. I see, so pity, he said. I was kind of relieved then and trying to keep distance from him, but he still came to talk to me from time to time, and that's the first time I realized how inconvenient a tour could be. Because we were in the same group and we need to follow the guide or we would get lost. From then on, all I wanted to do was to pray, wishing the tour to be finished as soon as possible. Around 40 minutes later, the guide said, here's the souvenir stores. Our tour ends here. And I was like, oh, finally. I then used my fastest speed to leave in case there was any moment I would bump into the Greek guide again. At night, I was resting in room calmly, and there's another thing out of my expectation. Surprisingly, I talked with my Israel roommate for 2.5 hours. We even talked about the toilet thing happening in the morning, which did entangle the uneasy knot in my heart. He thus became the person I talked the most in the room. Well, the reason why I didn't talk that much with the two other roommates from Russia and Ukraine respectively is because we have language barriers. But yeah, they were still pretty nice to me. I remember one day I got tangerines in the morning from Russian roommates. In the afternoon, I got bread from Ukrainian roommate. That was pretty sweet. Thank you, guys. I think I like Krakow more than Warsaw. Here is less cold, the location of hostel is more convenient, and most importantly, I had more connections with people. Written by Jessie Chan. Thanks for your reading.